I finally got my hands on these gnarly new Pokemon VUnion collection boxes from Japan. These things are absolutely insane. It's 4 Pokemon cards that combine to make one gigantic epic Pokemon with 300 plus HP and a whole bunch of different attacks and abilities that we're going to be talking about in this video. And each of these collection boxes comes with some bonus booster packs, so we might even get to pull something nice. Let's scope it out. Of these 3 collection boxes, I think that the Mewtwo one is definitely my favorite. The artwork on that Mewtwo VUnion is just phenomenal. It's got this crazy cityscape going on in the background. A beautiful, beautiful series of cards. I don't know, you can't call it a card because it's like 4 cards, right? So I'm gonna save that one for last. I know there are a lot of Greninja fans out there. Greninja also getting its own VUnion card, and Zashian. We'll kick things off with the Greninja and see what we can find. Now, each of these Pokemon VUnion has a whole bunch of different attacks and abilities and things like that going on. So I do have the translations pulled up so that I can talk a little bit about what each of these cards does. Now, I'm not going to take the 4 Greninja cards out of the plastic yet, because I do think that this is probably the best way for me to display the Pokemon VUnion on camera, right? Because once I take it out of this plastic, it might be a little bit more difficult, to do so. So I'm going to keep it in the plastic while I talk about what the card does. Greninja VUnion has got 300 hit points, and its first ability, Ninja Body, reads whenever your opponent plays an item card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to this Pokemon. So no Crushing Hammer. This Greninja VUnion is Crushing Hammer proof. It's also got the ability Antidote Jutsu. This Pokemon can't be poisoned. It's got the ability Probing that reads once during your turn you may look at your opponent's hand. So you get to peek at your opponent's hand. It can't be poisoned. No item cards can affect you. That's 3 abilities, and this thing has 4 attacks. Its first attack, Union Gain, for 1 colorless energy, allows you to attach up to 2 water energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Aqua Edge does 130 damage for just 1 water energy. Whirlpool Shuriken, for 2 water and a colorless, does 100 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. That's pretty crazy. That's like Magikarp and Wailord's Towering Splash GX. But this attack does cost 3 energy. However, it is not a GX attack. And then Waterfall Bind, for 2 water and a colorless, does 180 damage, and the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Now, the way you get a Pokemon VUnion into play is that all 4 cards have to be in your discard pile, and then you can spring them out of your discard pile and put them into play. So it is a pretty wild mechanic, not exactly easy to get these Pokemon VUnion cards into your discard pile without a card like Battle Compressor, but there is a new supporter card, Professor Burnett, that is getting released alongside these Pokemon VUnion. It allows you to choose up to 2 cards from your deck and discard them. So it's kind of like a Battle Compressor Lite that you can use to search out the Pokemon VUnion cards and put into the discard pile. And you can only summon 1 Pokemon VUnion per battle. And when a Pokemon VUnion gets knocked out, your opponent takes 3 prizes. So a pretty crazy mechanic, and I'm really interested to see if these cards actually become playable. At the very least, they are definitely collectible because, I mean, look at these things. They are just beautiful and will look awesome in the binder. That is for sure. You get to put them one next to each other, show off the beautiful artwork. I do like that the VUnion cards kind of come in these collection boxes, so you're not just pulling like, you know, Greninja's right leg or Greninja's left foot out of a booster pack. I think that that would be a little bit goofy. I think that that might be where the Professor Burnett comes in that silver pack there. And then we've got 3 packs of Skyscraping Perfect and 3 packs of Blue Sky Stream. So let's get cracking. We're going to put the Greninja, of course, in some Dragon Shield Perfect Fit sleeves. The absolute best sleeves for collecting and protecting your cards. So we'll slide these on in there. And I'm really excited to see if we can't pull anything good out of these booster packs, because these booster packs have some really awesome cards in it. These are some of the sets that made up our Evolving Skies Pokemon trading card game set. Of course, there is the alt art Rayquaza out of Blue Sky Stream, but all of the alt arts are, of course, some major chase cards out of these sets. And I personally love collecting the Japanese cards because they come out before the English cards, allowing me to create some awesome tabletop content with them before the English cards are released. Now, this is looking like it is going to be a bit of a challenge, but that's fine. I think I've got, yes, scissors. Very, very nice. That'll do just fine. And yes, out of this pack, it looks like we have the Professor Burnett. That is the supporter card I was talking about. Allows you to discard 2 cards from your deck. So Professor Burnett can help you get your VUnion Pokemon into play. Now we're going to start with the towering tower perfect whatever, these guys. All right, the tower guys. We've got a Suicune V. Suicune V is all the rage right now. Suicune V paired with Inteleon. Suicune V paired with Ludicolo. It is an awesome Pokemon card. Does 20 damage plus 20 more damage for each bench Pokemon in play. So it can do 220 damage for just 2 energy. And its ability allows you to draw a card once during your turn if Suicune is in the active spot. So some awesome first pack magic there from the Towering Perfection? Tower Perfection? Yeah, whatever. Crystal Cave is seeing a lot of play as well. Crystal Cave allows you to heal 30 damage from each of your dragon or metal Pokemon during your turn. Really good for building some tanky metal or tanky dragon decks. Definitely pairs well with Zashian V and Zamazenta, as well as, wow, Duraludon VMAX. Scope that out. Some nice playable cards. We got Evolution Incense in that pack as well. Single Strike Duraludon VMAX has 330 hit points, and its ability Skyscraper makes it so that Pokemon with special energy cannot damage it. And its attack does 220 damage and goes through all effects on the defending Pokemon. So an awesome hit out of that pack. Love Duraludon VMAX. What an absolute unit. Now move on to the Rayquaza packs. Finding a Rayquaza VMAX would be pretty hype. I do have the entire Rayquaza VMAX deck built already in Japanese, so I don't actually need any more of these Rayquaza VMAX pieces, but pulling a hyper rare card would be incredibly hype. We were definitely building and testing Rayquaza VMAX leading up to the release of Evolving Skies with the Japanese cards. Was very stoked about that, and I'm very much liking my new Rayquaza VMAX list that I posted on YouTube with the peony in it. I feel like that list is a ton of fun. We've got a Trevenant VMAX, a big beautiful tree, and a Wishy-Washy. Let's go, Trevenant. You really can't get enough Trevenant VMAX, can you? I feel like I am always finding Trevenant VMAX from Evolving Skies, from Blue Sky Stream. I'm just building a forest, really. I guess I have to just build the deck, don't I? It would make sense. So some good pulls, honestly, out of our Greninja VUnion collector's box. We got a Suicune V, a Duraludon VMAX, and a Trevenant VMAX. Now, I'm interested to see which one of these VUnion boxes ends up being the best one. So let's see if Zashian can compete with this. Up next, we've got everybody's favorite sword, Doggo. Feels like Zamazenta is always getting the short end of the stick. How come Zamazenta doesn't get a cool VUnion card yet? Everything's always about the sword Doggo, but never about the shield Doggo, right? I mean, come on. It's got to be tough to be shield Doggo with all the love and attention that sword Doggo gets. Now, Zashian VUnion has got 320 hit points, a retreat cost of 2, resists grass, weak to fire, and it has got 4 attacks. So that Greninja had like 3 abilities and 4 attacks. This Zashian has just got 4 attacks. No intrepid sword to be found here, but its attacks are pretty good. Union Gain, I think all of the Pokemon VUnion have Union Gain. It's this colorless attack that allows you to attach up to 2 metal energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon, and then Royal Blade Dance for 2 metal and a colorless energy. Does 150 damage. It's this one right up here. And it reads, during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks deal 150 less damage. That's crazy. So it's pretty close to 2-hit KOing most Pokemon VMAX or VUnion, and it very much decreases the amount of damage you're going to be receiving from your opponent's attacks unless they are able to remove that attack effect by moving to the bench or something like that. And then Steel Slash for 2 metal and a colorless just does a vanilla 200 damage, and the final attack, Master Blade, reminds me of Link's Master Sword from Legend of Zelda. Master Blade for 3 metal and a colorless does 340 damage, enough damage to 1-hit KO any Pokemon VMAX or VUnion, but you do have to discard 3 energy from this Pokemon in order to perform that massive attack. This Zashian VUnion is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think this thing is certainly pretty hype. It does a ton of damage. Again, the biggest question with Pokemon VUnion is going to be, are we going to be able to consistently get them into play? You can only summon 1 of each VUnion per battle. So if a Zashian VUnion gets knocked out, it goes to the discard pile. You can't summon it again because that VUnion has already hit the discard pile once, has already been summoned once, right? But you could summon a different VUnion, though I think that would be incredibly inconsistent, right? Trying to build a deck with multiple VUnion Pokemon in it. I don't really see that strategy working out. If the VUnion Pokemon are ever going to work, they're probably going to just be played as either the 4 set or maybe, can you really afford to put 8 cards, 8 spots in a deck dedicated to getting this VUnion into play? I mean, maybe at the fastest you could get a Pokemon VUnion into play on turn 3, yeah, maybe. And then once it gets into play, I mean, it is a pretty busted Pokemon once you are able to establish it on the board. But at what cost? Are Pokemon VUnion destined to just be kind of gaudy collector pieces, or will these things ever find their way to competition? And of course, we've got our Professor Burnett, which is more or less the answer for getting your Pokemon VUnion into play. Now, in expanded format, there is Battle Compressor, so I'm interested to see if Pokemon VUnion become a staple, more or less, of expanded format. Are we going to be seeing more Pokemon VUnion in expanded format in decks that can run Battle Compressor and consistently get them into play? Because Battle Compressor is just an item card from Phantom Forces that allows you to discard 3 cards from your deck, and it's a really good card in expanded format because it allows you to thin your deck, it allows you to get energy into the discard pile, which could be really good for a Pokemon like Zashian. Nice, we got a Galarian Articuno with its Cruel Charge ability and Psylaser attack. Cruel Charge allows you to accelerate 2 psychic energy from your hand onto Galarian Articuno. Psylaser can do 120 damage anywhere on your opponent's board. We've seen a lot of Galarian Articuno in Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX decks. It looks like we've got a hit here. A full art Dragonite, wow, and a Mountain Ridge. I have not even seen this card yet. I didn't even know that this card existed. I mean, I guess I thought that, you know, it must exist, but I have not yet seen this full art Dragonite V with my own 2 eyeballs yet. This is a gorgeous card. I cannot express enough how pretty this card is. The texture and the glimmer off of it is just really something else. That's really next level. I don't know if you could tell there on the camera, but that is just a gorgeous piece of cardboard. I really do mean it when I say that the Pokemon trading card game, Pokemon Prince, the finest quality cards out of any trading card game, and it's not close. They really do have the prettiest cards, the coolest cards out of any trading card game. I know I am biased, but I really do believe that the production quality on these cards is absolutely bananas. One more pack of Blue Sky Stream, and we'll see if we can't get one more hits. Nope, we do have Turtonator though, and Cryogonal. So we got just one hit out of the Zashian VUnion box. Is not really up to the, what, 1, 2, 3 hits we got out of the Greninja box. But to be honest, I really love this Dragonite, and I'll take the Dragonite over these 3 any day. So I think that this is probably my favorite box yet, because the Dragonite V Full Art is my favorite hit of the opening, but I have saved my favorite box for last. We've got this Mewtwo VUnion. We'll see if we can find anything better in there. Mewtwo VUnion looks incredible. This artwork is probably one of the coolest Mewtwo artworks I have ever seen. It really is fantastic. So big props to the artist on this one, Igawa. Big props to Igawa for an incredible piece of art on this Mewtwo VUnion card, or series of cards, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what to call Mewtwo VUnion. It's a Pokemon card, but it's really 4 cards. Mewtwo VUnion has 310 hit points, of retreat cost of 2, 1 ability, and 4 attacks. Its ability, Photon Barrier, prevents all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So no bonus effects from your opponent's Pokemon are going to be affecting Mewtwo VUnion. So no paralysis, special conditions, discarding energy, none of that nonsense. Just damage is going to be hitting Mewtwo VUnion. And then it's got the Union Gain attack for 1 colorless energy, gets you 2 psychic energy from the discard pile and attaches it to your Mewtwo VUnion. Super recovery for 2 psychic and a colorless, heals 200 damage from this Pokemon. It's kind of like a revive style attack. That's pretty crazy. Cyplosion for 2 psychic and a colorless allows you to place 16 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. That is absolutely wild. Imagine playing a card like this in your Dragapult VMAX deck or something like that. Placing 16 damage counters is pretty crazy and can really finish off a lot of smaller, low HP Pokemon on your opponent's side of the board. And then its final Cyburn attack for 3 psychic and a colorless does a whopping 300 damage. So definitely a card that does not disappoint. This is a pretty wild Mewtwo card, if I do say so. I can't really imagine, I don't know, the super recovery, healing 200 damage. I mean, are you really going to have time in the middle of the battle to do that? I mean, potentially, if it really builds into your strategy, maybe if you're playing a Inteleon deck or something like that, and you're trying to load up more damage counters on your opponent's side of the board, and if your opponent can't one-hit KO your Mewtwo VUnion, being able to just use super recovery to heal 200 damage turn after turn, there's no drawback for that healing attack. Usually there's some sort of drawback, something that keeps you from just spamming those kind of healing attacks over and over. But this Mewtwo, if you can't one-hit KO it, if you can't do much more than 200 damage, you're going to be having a bad time, because Mewtwo could just sit here and recover indefinitely until it gets, until you are able to get maybe a final Psyburn attack built up or something like that. Now, I don't know for sure, but yeah, I'm thinking that we've got a Professor Burnett in the silver packaging. Sure enough, there she is. Professor Burnett, allowing you to discard 2 cards from your deck. Great for getting those Pokemon VUnion into play. We're going to kick things off with the 3 packs of Skyscraping Perfect. See if we can't find an alt art Pokemon in this final box collection that we have here. That would be the dream. Or full art supporter, always looking for nice full art supporters to add to the collection as well. Raihan is super good. I think one of my favorite new cards out of Evolving Skies, and another Galarian Articuno. That artwork on the double is also top notch. So we absolutely love that. Final pack of Skyscraping Perfect. And we got our Garbodor V. Look at that. Look at that stinky fella. Garbodor. They don't call him Garbodor for nothing. Garbodor V with its 210 hit points. It evolves into Garbodor V Max that has the ability, allows it to wear 2 Pokemon tools. That's pretty sick. 3 packs of Blue Sky something stream something. Blue Sky stream, is that it? I can never remember these. It doesn't help that I can't read it. Right, that is the one thing about collecting Japanese cards. I ought to learn Japanese. I lived in Japan for 3 years, actually. My dad was stationed there in the Navy, but I was just a little boy. I was like 6, 7. Didn't really learn enough Japanese to be able to apply it in any meaningful way to my life, unfortunately. But I do have some very, very fond memories of my life in Japan. No more hits. We just got the 1 Garbodor V out of the Mewtwo VUnion box, but we did get some pretty epic pulls all around. We got the Garbodor V, we got Dragonite V, the pieces to a Zashian. Look at this thing. I mean, how are we going to put this thing on the battlefield? I guess you kind of like combo it all together like that. Is this how we're gonna do it, right? Like, I mean, I'm doing it all sorts of I'm gonna have the world's worst time playing these cards if I ever play them in paper. Like, okay, here we go. It's like completing a puzzle every time you want to put one together. Trevenant VMAX, Duraludon VMAX, Suicune, and then of course Greninja. Who could forget about Greninja VUnion? There we go. All of our beautiful, gorgeous Pokemon VUnion. Look at these things. These things are crazy. All right. Well, that about does it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/TrickyJim, where I stream live Pokemon trading card game content every single weekday. We've got an awesome community over on Twitch, and we'd love you to be a part of it. If you've got extra cards lying around your house and you're trying to get some cash for them, or store credit, or a new booster box, make sure to check out the Full Grip Games buy list. We are always buying bulk and singles at the shop, and selling your cards to Full Grip Games directly supports the content I create here on Tricky Jim. That about does it. Y'all have a busted day. Peace.